Hi, TRS-80 Retro Programming again. This is just a quick follow-up video. Same topic as I was on before. Now, if I hold the joystick down, the guy will not go down. And if I hold the joystick up, he will not go up. And I'm demonstrating that right now. He will only go up on the ladder, okay? And he falls off the ladder if you move to the left or the right. That was the easiest way to solve this problem. Not sure how to keep him on the ladder, so he just falls off. But he will not go up, and he will not go down unless he's on the ladder. So we go up the ladder, and as soon as we get into the attic, the light comes on. It's actually a flashlight that he has in his hand. You can't see it, but it's there. So now that we get up into the attic, I'm starting to add things up here. We can't go over here any farther than that. That's where it stops. I have a block up there. Won't let it go any farther than that. And he also cannot go down unless he's on the ladder. And he cannot go down here. Up still works, but I'll fix that. I had to use a special logic gate to make this happen, and it's all stacked, sort of. The crucial thing is the order of the lines, and I had to, as Curtis was saying, and I've done this in the past, but not this level of detail. What you do is you do stack your lines, and so you have, a certain number of lines that cover down here. Once you get up here, it's a different set of lines. But the thing that you have to pay attention to is the order that you're putting the commands in. For instance, the ladder commands have to come first. Actually, this is the hallway, so we have our hallway blocks first. And then we have our ladder commands, which have to come before the attic commands. Once you pass through this logic gate and you do enter the attic, you have a different set of blocks than down here, and which is represented by I can't go down and I can't go farther than this. If I was down here, I could go to another screen this way and that way. And I've started to put things up in the attic. I just have one little box over here right now. I don't know what that's going to be. But we can come over here and start exploring that box to see what we find. But it doesn't have any effect right now because it's not connected to anything. And that's as far as I've got. I don't know exactly what people keep in their attic. I'm going to have to try to come up with a few objects that are common to attics. If anybody has any ideas, kind of junk you keep up in an attic, I don't know. I don't have an attic. I don't have a basement. But people collect a lot of junk in their attics and basements. That's why I don't have either one of those, because it just turns into a junk space, like a garage. But what kind of junk would be up in an attic, I don't know. I'm going to have, guys help me out here, and I'll put some stuff up here. And we're looking for an item. I know what the item is. You guys don't. I'm not going to give that away. Because you have to find it in order to finish the game and get into, but up here, if you notice, I've changed the color scheme. I want to make this as colorful as possible. It is a color computer. Let's use the colors. We have all the colors in the letters now. Before they were all red, I think, or something there, it didn't look good. So now Tales of Suburbia has blue and red and green. The other change that I'm going to make is to do something with this red space. I'm thinking about like having a diagonal line at each corner and then coloring that area, that trapezoid in with a different color. So we'd have blue, then red, then yellow, then green, and start there. I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away here, but there's too much empty space here. So now when I move back down the ladder, the light closes off. But we have a couple of problems here. The box is still there. This right here is not the way it was. So the easiest way to fix this, I can't use a paint scheme and then p-copy it. Basically, when the light comes on, it's a p-copy. It's a quick, I don't know, I think it's a paint scheme, and then it goes into a p-copy scheme so it doesn't slow down, because if it's purely a paint and draw scheme, we'll be back to this again, where it just goes so slow. So everything that appears after the light comes on is going to be, it's not part of a separate page, but it's a layered p-copy scheme that has to do with, we're on page screen 1, so this would be page 2. There's actually 2 page 2s, and depending on if we're in the attic or the hallway that uses the correct page 2 and then copies it over. So yeah. So the best way to get rid of all of this up here is probably to I can do it 2 ways. I could either go through the original directions, which is black or red with the lights off, and p-copy that to 6 and then 6 to 1. Or from 4 to 6 to 1, or whatever it is, 4 to 6 to 2. Or I can get this area when it's dark, and when he goes back down the ladder, put it. But the problem with that is it'll cover the guy too. So I'm going to have to go back through the original directions and just use a p-copy routine. Get and put won't work here. It'll cut your guy's head off, or cut your guy off at the shoulders here, and that's it. So this was just a quick update. I know we had a lot of different ideas about the ladder and everything, and it actually was after almost a week of going back and forth through this. 5 or 6 days, it finally, this is a word of wisdom here. Usually the answers to problems are the simplest ones, and it ended up being just a simple gate, a simple logic gate, no more than a couple of lines. If anybody's interested in exactly the code on that, I could, follow up with a different video, but I'm not going to get into that right now. It wasn't very complicated. I don't know where it is in the program. I want to show it to you. Why don't I just show it to you? I think it's somewhere around line 300 to 500. Let's see exactly where it is, and we'll take a look at what actually made the ladder work. It's farther down in here. Let's see. I might have gone by it. Here it is, all screen boundaries. So we're going to list 372, because there was a lot of controversy about exactly how to do this. We're going to list 372 to 382, and we're going to see what actually made this work. It's simple. Not really, but after a while it's So what you do is, whenever the controller checks for boundaries, if I move the controller to the right, it does not apply the sprite before it checks for it. Excuse me, it does not place an increment to the left or to the right or up or down. Basically, the Cartesian plane, it won't increment until it checks for these boundaries. So every screen has an S value, okay? The hallway happens to be 1. So if S equals 1, then we go to 375, else we go to 388, which is a different screen. So we're on the hallway. The first thing it does is it checks for the hallway boundaries, the lower level that I showed you, not the attic. So if we go to the left past 14, we're going to go to another screen. Same thing. If we go all the way to the right, we go to another screen. Those are taken here first. Has to be in order. Problem was, I wasn't putting these in the right order, and you have to stay in order. It's crucial that you issue these commands at the right times. Otherwise, it'll corrupt other data. So now we're staying on the hallway. If we try to go greater than 0, and 0 happens to be down here, the floor, we cannot go through the floor. So if we try y value greater than 0, okay, so if we happen to go to y equals 10, it'll change it to 0, effectively keeping it at 0. That's how that works. If y is greater than 0, then y equals 0, and it will return, it will not increment y. If it doesn't find any of these boundaries, then it will increment on the Cartesian plane. If we make it through that, then we go to the ladder, and it's simply one line, guys. Now, he falls off the ladder. Fine, let's just keep it that way. Let's not make it confusing. But he will not go up anywhere in the hallway until he reaches the ladder. And the way this is done is that I have a one line here. Let me get a drink. Hang on a second. Talking really makes you thirsty. So if we want to use the ladder, okay, if x does not equal 64, okay, let me take a breath here. If x does not equal 64 and attic does not equal 1, then y stays at 0. So, when y is 0, we're walking on the hallway floor. If we're walking anywhere other than 64, which is what this is saying, and the value of the attic does not equal 1, then y won't move. Now, attic begins at a value of 2 when you start the game, okay? So obviously when we're on the hallway floor, the attic value is 2. So when we're on the floor here, it does not equal 1. It equals 2. It doesn't equal 1 until you actually reach the attic. So if we're somewhere other than here, say for instance 74, position 74, then x does not equal 64 and it does not equal 1, therefore it won't move. But as soon as we get under that ladder, now x equals 64, and attic still does not equal 1, which lets us go up the ladder. Okay? So, now we move on. We're still on the ladder, but now we move on to the attic part. So we're on the ladder, and y is changing as we go up. It's going into a negative value. negative 10, 20, 30, 40. As soon as we have this here, I don't know. Let me list this here. Okay, so we're walking on the ladder, and we reach, like I said, negative 10, negative 20, negative 30, negative 40. Nothing happens because attic does not equal 1. Even though we reach negative 40, we don't go to 382. We go to 383. So let's see what that says. Let's list 380 to 85. Okay. So we're on this ladder and we can't make any use of these two lines. So we go to 383 and we're still on the ladder and we can't make use of these lines either. So we bypass the attic because we're not actually there yet. First we have to turn on the light. So let's list 385 to 395. It's too many lines. List 385 to 388. So while we're on the ladder, even though these two lines are out of order, they have to be in a certain order. And now you have to determine that for yourself by trial and error. It doesn't always follow logic, but the next thing we have to do when we're on the ladder is turn the light on. And this is where it gets confusing. So if here we're on the ladder, and once y gets to negative 50, okay, if y equals negative 50 and attic equals 2, bingo. That's our key here. Then we P mode to 1.4, which is our pristine screen. Okay, now attic drops down to 1 because we're actually in the attic. We go sub to 121, and that is the graphics screen commands where the screen is actually drawn, and it has commands that flips that light on and changes the graphics. I'll just say that. And then we p-copy that 4 to 6, which is our cut and paste page, and we p-mode back to 1.6, which is the marker on the controller, and we paste our character, and then we go back to 1.2 where the action is taking place. And the opposite happens when we go down the ladder. This is the scheme to shut the light off, where I haven't finished that yet. Okay, but we have to go back to 380 to 385, and now we're in the attic. We've achieved the attic and turned the light on. So what happens is, once we're in the attic, once we pass through that gate, now we're in a new logic scheme where I was showing you before. Now attic equals 1. Okay, if we try, what does this say? If we try increasing y to negative 40, it'll go to 382, and unless we're on the ladder again, 64, it will not increment. It will stay at negative 50. If we're not moving on the y-axis, it will skip this and go on to our left and right blocks that I showed you, where you can't go past a certain point in the attic. That's our x value here. If x is lower than negative 34, it will block that and stay at 34 and not increment, de-increment, and the other way, it will not bypass 204. So this is how this works, and guys, this is what I was saying. It took 4, 5, 6 days to figure this out. This is pretty complicated. I think Retro Bits, Joseph was saying that we do need 2 conditions, and he was right. I've used this before, but never to this degree. So thank you, Curtis and Joseph. So our 2 conditions are here. The attic condition, which is either 0, 1, or 2. And then we have our coordinate condition. And then we do have a subline where it says 382 else. This is a subline. If these conditions are not met, it'll skip. So we have sublines within subroutines. So this is the actual subroutine, the boundary with a return at the bottom, and we have bottom, and we have sublines as well. So this is for pretty much expert programmers. But for beginners, don't be daunted by this. You know, you have to start somewhere. You can learn this. I've posted all of my progress, or most of my progress, within the past 3 years on this channel. So I didn't start at this level. I had to work my way up, and my entire progress is posted in over 100 videos. So if you are new to programming and you're really interested in programming a TRS-80, color computer 1, 2, or possibly a 3, I don't know anything about the 3, but if you're interested in the 1 or 2, I'm sure this could help you with the 3 as well. If you have 1 and 2 background, and this can also help programmers of other languages, such as Commodore, spelling this right, I think Commodore Basic. This can help someone to learn Commodore Basic. There are 2 different languages. This is Color Basic. It's an early Microsoft. Commodore had its own language, but they're all related. They're all similar. They're not, they're not transparent. Back in the day, Atari also had its own language, and that was the thing with computers back then. They were not interchangeable. Some of them had backwards compatibility, but they had to be on their name brand or they would not work. You couldn't stick a Commodore disk in an Atari computer or a Color Basic disk in a Commodore computer. Not that I know of. It would not function unless you had some kind of transposer. And that's another thing. Joseph or Curtis or someone else out there, do you know of any transposers like that for a color computer that would allow it to run Commodore or vice versa? I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that still do homebrew, and they create things like this. Even the emulators didn't exist until recently, so that would be interesting. Other than that, I'm going to end this video. I appreciate you guys' input. Keep it coming. If there's anything you want to see me do, like I said before, let me know. If you have anything from another programming language, especially from Commodore, and you want me to try a short program in Color Basic to see if I can get it to work, shoot one over to me. That's happened in the past. I enjoy that type of thing, and I don't know what else to say right now. This channel is still going strong, so I guess we're just going to keep going, and that's it. for now. Thank you for watching. Take care and have a nice day.